Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Friday slate. So happy Friday to everybody watching. Have a huge 11-game slate today, so let's get into it. Finally had a decent day yesterday for NBA. Jimmy Butler was pretty low on. He had a triple-double, and then some late pivots ended up coming through, with Plumlee being announced out, had to go to Stewart, and then played Terence Ross with Cole Anthony out. So worked out pretty well. Looking at tonight's slate, let's keep it going. So as always, appreciate you guys to the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. See if we get 150 likes, that would be appreciated. A lot of games to touch on. Spent this morning kind of targeting and looking at each one and trying to find the best play. So let's get into it. Excited to break it down. Starting off here at point guard options for tonight, so you have a ton of guys that are expensive. Luka Doncic 10-9 against the Pelicans. He's been really good all season. Some games he struggles a little bit when like Porzingis goes off, but this type of spot I think he should be in line for another like 60 burger, maybe low 70s. So don't mind targeting him, but for me it's tough to get up to like Luka Doncic or like Trae Young or LeBron when I have Westbrook at 9,000, Fox at 9,000, Lillard is only 98 against Cleveland. So I probably will not get to Doncic tonight just because I like the guys that are in the 9K range. So Lillard looks good, but I think it's kind of tough to not have one of at least Westbrook or Fox. Westbrook is 9,000 playing without Bradley Beal for like the first time this season. He should be good to go and like playing good minutes and full minutes. It's against the Knicks, who have been good defensively this season, but like Westbrook should get so much usage extra without Beal, more shot attempts, more times with the ball in his hands, and probably should get a triple double. I mean, I think don't know what the odds are of him to get a triple double tonight, but whatever they are, I would probably put some money on it. So love Westbrook at 9,000, and I love De'Aaron Fox, who's been playing out of his mind recently, like leading the Kings to I think 5 or 4 wins in the past 5 games. Shooting the ball great. He's making plays with assists, getting rebounds. He's playing huge minutes. You've seen him top 38 minutes in 3 or 4 games. So I really love Fox. In the one game that he didn't was 36 minutes when he was in foul trouble. I love Fox. He just gives you so much upside in the minutes department, and such an explosive playmaker. LaMelo Ball is 8,600. If Graham is back, then I think that's tough to get to him. But if Graham's out, he will be a nice GPP play because that price tag is definitely a little bit tough when you have Fox and Westbrook right above him. Mitchell is 8,200. He's been playing a lot more point guard without Conley, and he's been really productive. So against the Bucks, who give up a lot of points and play fast, I think Mitchell should be in play. And then you have the Grizzlies pretty short-handed tonight. Look at the Memphis depth chart here. So the Grizzlies without Melton, they're still without Winslow, who might never play. They are without Bane, who is a new addition to the injury report. And they're still without Jaren Jackson, Clark. So you're going to see Valanciunas play a lot of minutes at center. You might see Tillman start in place of Bane, or you could see Grayson Allen start. But you'll see a ton of minutes for Kyle Anderson and Brooks and Morant. So I think they look somewhat interesting just because they're limited and low on bodies. And Tyus Jones will also play quite a bit. So I don't mind targeting a few, at least like one or two. But they are behind a few other teams. But Morant, just because he's cheap, should be in play. And then Spurs getting a bit healthier now, still without Aldridge, but they're getting White back. I don't think I'll go to Murray at 6,800 or the other Murray at 6,800. Lonzo, I haven't been getting to him, even though he's been playing better, but 67 is still a pretty high price tag. And then Kemba at 63, I think he will probably sit tonight. Kemba, I don't think he's played in the last back-to-back that they had, and he has played a lot of basketball recently, and he's kind of coming off of a knee injury. So I feel like they will probably sit him on a back-to-back against Detroit. So if that's the case, we'll definitely get some value on the Celtics side with it, whether it be Pritchard or maybe Semi Ojeleye, who went nuts last night. So keep an eye on the Boston news, especially for Kemba. You could even see Jaylen Brown sit because he's also coming off an injury, a knee injury as well, or knee soreness. So besides the guys at the top at point guard, the cheap options tonight, I don't think I'll have too much interest in this 5K range. Like Williams is kind of priced where he should be. Trent looks decent, but I think there's better options. Don't want to get the Clarkson at 57. Tough to trust Jackson now that Beverly's back. DiVincenzo, tough matchup against Utah, so not too much interest in the 5K range. In the 4K range, pretty much the same deal. Don't think anybody really jumps off the page right now. And then in the 3K range, it's really Pritchard at 38. I like Pritchard more than Teague if Kemba sits. So you can look to one of those two, and that's it. So probably a spot to spend a bit at point guard. I'll go with De'Aaron Fox as my pay-up option today. Shooting guard, Levine went nuts last game. He's been shooting so good recently, shooting 50 or 45% from three in his last 6 games, 54% from the floor. Gives you a monstrous ceiling. Still without Paul George, so this game should be a bit closer, and we can see Levine continue to go nuts. I think he's behind a few guys on the slate, but definitely for tournaments he will be interesting. Mitchell looks decent, 82. I like Mitchell over Middleton. Middleton 8,000, a little bit tough to get to him. I mean, Mitchell has an easier matchup against the Bucks than Middleton does against Utah on the road. Diallo is just going to have to do a lot of playmaking for the Thunder, still without SGA, and you do like Diallo that he plays a lot of minutes, and he is pretty productive, making his best SGA impression in getting rebounds, going to get some assist opportunities with the ball in his hands a lot more, and even left the game last time out, and then he came back and played 38 minutes, so maybe lost a few, but anyways, you're going to get huge minutes out of a lot of these Thunder guys, and I do like Diallo. So definitely like Diallo more than Beasley, more than Buddy Hield at a similar price tag. Buddy Hield looks decent, like him more on Fanduel, but it looks okay on Draftkings. And then the Timberwolves without D'Angelo Russell, they do have Karl-Anthony Towns back, so that kind of makes it a little bit tough to trust Anthony Edwards now that Cat's back and getting a lot of usage. And definitely tough to pay 7,100 for Beasley. And then I like Terence Ross a lot at 5,600. He's just going to absolutely chuck. This Magic Sacramento game is super interesting because they are super thin on bodies, are the Magic. If they are without the same guys I missed, you wouldn't expect Frank Mason to play tonight. And then if they are without Fournier and Anthony, then you're going to see a huge just a huge upgrade in or uptick in minutes for guys like Ross. Okiki played great off the bench. You saw big minutes for Bacon, James Ennis. So Magic will be a big team to target if those guys are out. And it's a 10 o'clock game, so we might not get that news before lock. So you want to keep some roster spots open for swapping or just kind of go with them right now, and then maybe you can swap off of them. But really like Ross. I mean, he's an absolute chucker. Took 27 shots last game, 41 minutes. Started the game 1 of 10. Didn't stop him from shooting. Like, he's a guy that if his shots happen to fall, and if those guys are out, I mean, he could drop 50 fantasy points. He wouldn't be shocked at all. So, really like Ross more than Bledsoe, Brooks, Valentine, DiVincenzo. Rose, not going to play him at 5,300. Derek White, not going to play him either. Same thing with Burks. Dort looks all right, but rather go up to Diallo if I had to pick one. And then for value here, you have Grayson Allen, just because they are pretty limited on bodies. And then like Walker is cheap, 3,700, but I don't really want to go with a ton of Spurs today. At least until we see how the rotation shakes out with Derek White and like Walker playing and Murray. So kind of take a wait and see approach there. Guy I'll definitely have, I think, is going to be Diallo for now. Small forward, have Brown at 78. If he plays without Kemba, he looks good. He shot really bad last game, 3 of 14, I believe. 0 of 4 from 3, had a double-double in assists, though. I definitely think there's a chance he sits, or at least is a little bit limited on a back-to-back. And then you have DeRozan, 8,000, so they finally priced him where he should be. Good matchup against Atlanta. Definitely worth the shot if you play a ton of teams, but I don't think he'll be in my single team if you just make like one lineup. Same thing with Kawhi. He looks good, 95, but there's some other guys that I want to get to. Other guys at this position that are somewhat affordable, like Gordon Hayward is only 73, Jeremy Grant is 75, coming off of a dud last game. But it's a back-to-back, so you'd expect Blake Griffin to sit, which hasn't been surprising. So he'll get more minutes at power forward, which will help his rebounding. And then let's see Plumlee sit again, and that would make Grant look even better, and then definitely make Stewart viable. So even though the matchup is tough, I think the Pistons, you might want to get 1 or 2 Pistons, at least consider them. And you have Kenrich Williams, 51. It looks good as a cheap play. in the 5K range. I think it could go Justin Jackson over Kenrich Williams. I don't think he'll shoot as well as he did last game. James Ennis definitely in play if they are low on body. Same thing with Dwayne Bacon. Allen looks decent. And then for value, you don't. Yeah, like Sadiq Bey will probably start in place of Griffin if you wanted to go that cheap. So I'll just leave small forward open for now. Power forward options. Tatum looks really good at 88 if they happen to sit Kemba or if they happen to sit Kemba and Jaylen Brown tonight. Randall looks alright at 91. I think he looks better on Fanduel, but looks playable on Draftkings. And then the range is Collins looks good at 77. Grant mentioned him on the small forward position. Scroll down a bit, you have Baisley in a good spot at 5,900. Then Blake Griffin should sit tonight. Carmelo's 56. Don't think I'll get to that price tag. And they priced up like Patrick Williams. They priced up Valentine, so they're no longer really in play for me. Then we'll see like Roby if he might be back. I mean, I don't know. 4,000, he'll probably come off the bench anyways. There are plenty of cheap options here that we can consider, whether it be Okiki if the Magic are low on bodies, whether that be Denny Avdija at 3,900 without Bradley Beal, whether that be like Semi Ojeleye at 3,100. I think Ojeleye is somewhat interesting anyways, just because probably start again. If he gets like high 20s or low 30s in minutes, should be able to at least hit value, I think, at this price tag. Especially if Kemba Walker sits, then just another guy that will get a lot of usage and Kemba is sitting, so maybe that'll go to like Ojeleye a little bit more, even though he's not a high usage player. But I think he looks decent as a near min-priced option tonight. Center options, definitely a spot to pay up or go cheap here. Pay up options, you have a ton in Jokic, Giannis, Vooch, Towns, all above 9,200. You have Davis right at 9,200, but he's been limited. I mean, he's been out with an Achilles and might not even play tonight. So really looking at like Vooch at 9,400. Just especially if they are missing the same guys. I mean, tough not to like Vooch. He played pretty bad last night, but he still had 50 fantasy points, even though he shot like under like 30% from the floor. Had no defensive stats, no steals, blocks, had 3 turnovers. Still had 50 fantasy points. Like, it's a great spot against Sacramento. They play no defense. He's matched up against Rashawn Holmes, so he should be able to bully in the paint. And just like that price tag on Vooch, just given how injured the Magic are. Guard, go back to Westbrook here. Definitely going with the stars and scrubs approach, I think. I like the guys in the 9K range, Fox, Vooch, and Westbrook. Westbrook 9,000 without Beal. Expecting like a big performance from Westbrook, maybe a triple-double tonight. So he looks really good to me right now. And then the last guy is going to be Stewart in place of Plumlee if he sits again. I mean, if Plumlee's out, it's impossible not to play Stewart at 3,100. Played 30 minutes last game. Was great. And I know on FanDuel, some people weren't able to swap to him, but he was like 9% owned in the like $3, which is just crazy. For a guy starting at center, late swapping is really important in NBA, especially when you get late news. So, got to stay on top of it. And I think 8 o'clock starts, so might know before 7 anyways. I do like Stewart in place of Plumlee if he's out, or you should even be playable tonight just because Blake Griffin will sit and you'll get some more minutes in the front court, like backing up Plumlee. So, these are the 6 guys I really like. Stars and Scrubs approach tonight. Go ahead and talk about FanDuel now. All right, FanDuel here, point guard options. FanDuel's always had Westbrook like 97, almost $10,000, and the day that Bradley Beal is out, they bumped him down to 8,700, which makes absolutely no sense. So it's really tough to get away from Westbrook. I love Fox, who I don't think will get a lot of ownership, just because he's sandwiched in between Westbrook, Lillard, like Doncic, Young. And then we have like Ball, who looks interesting if there's no Graham again. Wright's not in play at 7,200. I like Diallo still at 7,000. And then we have some cheap plays. I don't think Kemba will play, but if he happens to play, 55 looks good as a value option. Anthony, if he's in, he looks good at 54. And I don't think I'll go that cheap at point guard because there are a lot of pay-up options. You have Pritchard, who looks decent if there's no Kemba, but don't want to go super cheap because I want to pay up for. Like Westbrook, 8,700. It's really tough to pass on. Shooting guard, it's Zach LaVine. 96, the only guy above 9,000 with all these injuries. So don't think I'll get to him just because he's pretty expensive, and I like some other options here. I like DeRozan at 78. I like Donovan Mitchell at 8,300. Then you have some value options, like a Buddy Hield is only 5,900. He's been playing better basketball. Josh Jackson's gonna have to play more minutes tonight without Blake. Then we have Terence Ross at only 4,900. You have Clarkson at only 4,700. So you have plenty of cheap plays at this position. Burks is 44. Bacon if they're all out again on the Magic side. But I would like go to Ross over Bacon. 49 for a guy that will shoot like 25 times tonight if they're without the same guys that missed yesterday. Just really tough to pass on against Sacramento of all teams. Small forward, Kawhi's 10,000. I won't get to him at that price tag. If Brown is in, looks okay, but usually I think I'll go a little bit cheaper at this position. The guys at the top, I'd probably go Grant in a bounce back spot. Not spot's tough, but I think he'll bounce back tonight. Probably go Grant, Brown, Middleton, Ingram. Then we have in the 7K range of Beasley, who I will definitely not have. I like Hayward a decent amount. Then we have Kyle Anderson at 57. He's been playing a lot more, and he's going to have to play a lot more against the Lakers. Then, so Anderson looks good in the 5K range. You have Porter and Barton. Porter's minutes haven't really been over 30. Barton also, I think, tough to get to either one at that price, their price tags. They both have upside. Porter gives you higher ceiling, but the lower floor. Barton gives you higher floor, but ceiling is lower. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably go to Barton, but I don't think I'll have either one. When I have like Kenrich Williams going to have to play a ton at 5,200. You have Joe Ingles at 49. You have Dort at 48. You have Valentine at 44. Ennis at 4,200. Like so many cheaper options to consider than the Nuggets players. So then you also have Gallo at 41, who's now up to 30 minutes limit. I have Deja at 39, so plenty of cheap plays to go to at small forward. Probably go to Joe Ingles, at least get a piece of Utah in Joe Ingles, who's going to play like 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. He's been starting in place of Conley. He's been playing pretty well, and he's top 7x last game. He topped 6x 2 games ago. Tough game against the Pacers and shooting, but the guy that's going to be out there gets assists, gets some rebounds, scores at a decent clip. So I think he looks really good at only 4,900. Power forward options, Giannis 11,000. If you can get to him, that's great. If not, you can definitely go to Tatum at 95. Randall's priced really down in a great spot against the Wizards, so I like Julius Randle a lot. I like Collins at 76. Baisley. And then if you wanted to go cheap here, you have in the sub 5K range, you have like Kiki's priced up, so I won't get to him. You have O'Neal also kind of priced up. You have like Birch, decent option. You have Tillman, decent option if he starts. Patrick Williams looks good for a value option. Bertans looks good just without Bradley Beal. And then you have Stewart, who's like 3,600 if Plumlee happens to miss again. But tough to pass on Julius Randle at 8,600. A price tag has never been that low on Fanduel in a while. So I want to jump on that price tag for sure. And then center options, you got to make some decisions here. You have Jokic at 10.8. Then we have Towns at 10.1. Then you have Vooch at 98. I'll probably go Vooch just because the minutes should be there. The production should be there against Sacramento. He's going to take a ton of shots, get a lot of rebounds. So I like Vooch, saving $1,000 from Jokic. I'd go Vooch, Jokic, then Towns. You have plenty of good, cheaper options also at center, so it's going to be tough to pick. Valanciunas at 7,000. Clint Capella is down to 78. Like, a spot where some of his minutes have come down a bit, but it's a spot where he can absolutely go ham against this Spurs frontcourt and Jakob Poeltl. He was like 9 plus, 9K plus, even like 10K plus when he was going absolutely nuclear. When he was dropping 55, 56, 79, 69. I think it's a good price tag to jump on Clint Capella at 7,800 and hope that he has like a big game in blocks. Do you like Capella at that price tag? Drummond? I mean, God, really tough to like the times that I played Drummond for last game on FanDuel where he had 16 minutes and then played him a while ago when he got benched in the second quarter. So haven't had much luck with Drummond. He's a good spot, but I don't want to bite the bullet on Drummond again because I feel like I'm cursed. Then you have Horford at only 62. He looks good. People might go chasing him from his last game, but he's going to just have to play a lot. And then Holmes looks alright, but 64 is kind of where he should be. Then I don't want to go cheap at center because there are a ton of guys expensive that can drop 50, 60 like I'd expect. Like a few guys to at least top 50 fantasy points at center, whether that be Valanciunas, Capella, Vooch, Jokic, even Drummond. So that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, please be sure to hit the like button. I appreciate you all, and best of luck today.